GM Farcaster. It is Thursday, December 21st, and you are live with Adrian and the Nounish Prof for 21 minutes of Farcaster news to start your day. How are you doing today, Adrian? What's going on?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Doing great. I'm drowning in Farcaster updates. Can
It's a
we?
lot. It's it's a lot. We got a lot going on.
I
It's
think
I'm just like overwhelmed every day now. Um, I've noticed in Web3 where everyone else is like, "Hey, holiday week, let's just shut down." Things ramp up, and I don't know what that
oh,
is, but like the rest of the world is like, "I'm just shopping, I'm wrapping presents," and we're like,
that's
"Yeah,
so
let's
funny.
launch 1,700 new features and put 27 nouns proposals up in the holiday week." Great job.
Yeah,
Thanks,
why is
everyone.
that? And
I don't know.
and let's also increase our usage of social media in general, right?
Yeah,
So
in
all the
general.
all the conversation, memes,
Yeah,
fun, silliness is,
it's crazy. And we are sporting our wraps behind us. These are our Farcaster wraps. Um, she's got like double me, but I think you were here double me. I think you got here probably you know 6 months or so before me, so that makes
What month
sense.
did you?
I don't remember. I am number like 4,000 something, and I do not remember what month it was, but it was sometime in early, like it must have been early this year. It must have been January, February. Had to be sometime around
Okay,
there.
that math doesn't add up because my FID is higher than yours if you're in the 4,000s.
I am.
And I got here in December of last year, so you must have
So maybe I
been
was here in
maybe
November,
you
but I
didn't.
wasn't active. I was not very
Okay, so
active.
maybe you didn't get active until
I didn't
later.
realize I was here before you. Oh, that's wild. Um, yeah, because I was not active at first. It was I think I came through Purple because of Chris Corella. That's what got me more interested in Farcaster, and so I started spending more time, and then it just was kind of a gradual progression to starting a permissionless morning show. Uh, yeah, you know how we do. By the way, I am sporting my very Dr. Seussish Christmas hat. There you go. It's kind
Merry
of fading
Merry
into my
Christmas, happy
background.
holidays.
Happy holidays to everybody. Happy Hanukkah. Happy Merry Christmas. All the things.
I am
And
sporting and I am
GM2.
sporting my workout clothes
She's gonna
because
go work
that will
out after
increase the
this.
chance I'm gonna work out today ahead of the holidays. GM chatters,
GM chat. We love you. Okay, so let's get into it. We've got a lot going on. I do want to start with the biggest alpha of the year came out on our show the other day and got posted around a little bit. And thank you, Doofy, for the clip of the biggest alpha of the year, which is video, is coming in 2024. I have no idea if Varun knows this yet, but it would be good to find out if he's off the plane yet. And another thing that happened that same day, which I figured relates to us, Adrian, but we could be wrong. If you don't have missionaries before you attract mercenaries, the usage will disappear when the mercenaries stop getting paid. And I thought that was an interesting statement. And my first thought was, are we the missionaries? I believe we might be. So
ooh, are we being
what did you
subcasted?
I think we were being subcasted. I really do, and it was very nice. So thanks, Dan. I believe we were included in that statement. But I thought it was really interesting, and it's a really good point. If you're, and I think about this in crypto a lot because we see a lot of projects that come out, they get a lot of hype, they put a lot of money into that marketing, um, and then a lot of times it's very much hype and gone because it's not an organic growth, it's not an organic sort of flow. And I think that's one of Farcaster's like secret weapons there is that it's grown very slowly over time. And as you onboard people, you start to solidify that culture. So you have missionaries, you have people who are just genuinely interested in supporting the ecosystem. So either they're building on it and trying to improve it from the dev side and maybe building their whole business on it, or they're, us, conversation, conversation liquidity providers, who also just want to see it succeed. But it's definitely different than that sort of paid promotion, which is going to have it may have very great results in the short term, but long term is going to have harder to sustain. So, any thoughts on that statement from Dan? I thought that was really interesting. It kind of jumped out at me.
No, and it's funny, I didn't even think he might be that got triggered from our conversation we had with him earlier about, um,
Yeah,
kind
I
of
mean,
motivation, but it is I talk a lot about, my DevOps community that I'm
mhm,
a part of, and, for those who've been following along my journey, that's kind of where I, initially heard the word "genius" from a DevOps genius, and I applied it
ah,
to Farcaster, but in the DevOps world, we talk a lot about, missionaries over mercenaries as well, and I think, at the end of the day, you gotta think about what motivates people. If
mhm, yep.
and money is a necessity, but it's rarely an intrinsic motivator. So
That's
when
so interesting. When I was, in management back way back when in the corporate world, that was one of the things I found this study that talked about the 5 things, the top 5 things that motivate people, and money was one of them, but it's not always the thing, and when you ask people to rank those things, it's really interesting because praise and recognition is almost always at the top, and then, the feeling of doing a job well, like just,
Mhm.
that, like,
Mastery,
yeah, like,
it's
finding purpose, things like that are often more important, being seeing that you're part of something that's bigger than yourself is a big one. All of that kind of thing. So I think, yeah, you're 100% right on that. And
I've
so
also yeah.
yeah.
I've also done management training back in the day based on motivation theory, and it was
Oh, interesting.
yeah, it was all like as a
Yeah.
manager of people, how do you intrinsically motivate people? And it was having nothing to do with money,
Nothing, yeah. And
nothing.
you
And
and
it
you
was
all you
purpose,
can do is really
clarity.
you can, like, tap into other people's their motivations, their internal motivations, but you really can't motivate somebody, especially to perform at a high level. That's gotta come, from them, but you can set up, incentives to trigger the motivation. But it's tricky.
Yeah.
It's not straightforward. Money doesn't always work. And you think about it right now, we're kind of experimenting with this, magic internet money, but also even things like warps, which have essentially no intrinsic value but are highly sought after. So we can find ways to motivate people in very strange directions. I do have to address monkey links. LOL, you joined the DAO's job is to proliferate Farcaster before you joined Farcaster. Not exactly, but I was involved in the DAO structure that Purple launched on, which was Nouns Builder. So similar. Um, Okay, let's jump in. We've got so much to talk about. Oh, I did love this meme that you posted, Adrienne Varun getting off a 20-hour flight to find out Dan promised video to the masses. I did think that was hilarious. And then we also had this fun meme of DWR looks like John Krasinski, and somebody who said I've been waiting to use this. And it was the same picture meme, which I thought was hilarious. So Dan getting a little jabs here, and then this last thing, which I do not think we have confirmation on yet. No, we do not. I keep hearing the community mention that DWR is getting a Wow Wow tattoo and has already booked the appointment for it. Is this true? If it's true, DWR.eth would go down as the most legendary community builder of all time. I did ask nicely if Dan wouldn't mind confirming that before 8:30 a.m. He has not yet, so we'll wait and see if the tattoo appears.
Okay, I
Uh,
don't support for the record, I don't support this because
it's a very
there's
bad
no way Dan
idea.
is getting a there is a 0% chance Dan is getting Wow Wow tattooed, but there is someone out there who's seeing that and is out there today getting that tattoo
Oh,
so that they
that
can
is
have
happening.
matching
Oh,
tattoos so
yes.
that they can have a matching tattoo with Dan,
Oh, no, no,
and I
it'll
don't wanna
happen
see that
anyway. There
happen.
will be incentive for Wow Wow tattoos. So nouns, if you get a nouns tattoo for a while, we had a fund that would pay for it. If you got noggles tattooed. I don't believe we're still doing that thing, but there was a period of time where that was a thing. So there will be Wow Wow tattoos. I guarantee it. It just
Give me
probably won't be on Dan.
I'll do a temporary tattoo. I'll bring fake
Okay, there
tattoos
we
to
go.
Farcon.
There we go.
Can we
Fake
just take a
tattoos.
pause in the chat?
Yes.
Just so when Monkey D links is Dan looking like John Krasinski a dunk? Isn't he a sex symbol?
No, it's not a dunk. It's a good thing.
No,
It's just
it's just
funny.
on an episode of Moz early this year, Moment of Zen, that's Dan's other podcast. Antonio, I think, introduced Dan at some point, and this might have been early. I don't even know if I knew what Dan looked like as the most handsome man in crypto. or something, and he was teasing him, and I'm like, "I feel like that he doesn't get trolled enough for being too handsome."
You're too handsome, Dan. We're not
So
trolling
internet,
you
do
enough
what
for
you will with
that.
that.
Do what you must. Um, Hilarious. Okay, moving on. We had Farcaster Pizza Day the other day, and this fascinated me. So I am fascinated with Bitcoin Pizza Day, and I'll jump into that in a second. But Simon Anderson, I turned 1,000 warps into pizza. Now I'm on an installment plan to ahn.eth for the next 9 days. KMacB.eth cast inspired us with a cast about BTC Pizza Day. DWR.eth is this the first non-digital purchase with warps? And I would guess yes, which I love because if you know the story of Bitcoin Pizza Day, back in I think it was God, it was many years ago, like 2014 or 2013, something like that. Might have even been earlier than that. I can't remember. So we have the gentleman up in Jacksonville, Florida, as a matter of fact, ordering pizza, arranged to order pizza from Papa John's with 10,000 Bitcoin. And the way he did that was to have a intermediary, somebody who would take the Bitcoin and then they would pay. I believe that's how it was done. So I feel like this was a similar situation where warps were paid to somebody and then somebody ordered pizza on the other side of the world, which to me is just awesome. Like that's pretty cool. And they ordered like a different kind of like they ordered a specific kind of pizza that they like or something like that. So it was just kind of neat. So now we might have Pizza Dow celebrating Farcaster Pizza Day as well. Is what I was trying to. I sent a message to Snacks, who is the founder of Pizza Dow, and just alerted him to the new holiday so that we can start celebrating that. And on Bitcoin Pizza Day, by the way, May 22nd, every year, for the past few years, there are parties all over the globe. Last year, there was 130 cities represented all across the world. So pretty cool thing. So now we can start Farcaster Pizza Day. So I'm very excited about that for next year. So
Very cool.
December 20th next year, Farcaster Pizza Day. Yeah, I just thought that was neat. Like we're starting to see all these new use cases for warps, and I just think it's really fun. Okay. Going to move on. Dan, shout out to Nanar and Airstack for all their work in 2023, making it easier for developers to get started with Farcaster data and APIs. If you remember, we started 2023 with hubs still coming soon, wild, and everyone was dependent on Warpcast API. Very different situation today. And related to that, Dan's beginning of 2023, this network is a monoculture. It's one big group chat, too crypto centric, not enough content in my feed. End of 2023. Oh my God, too many topics and discussions. I miss the group chat vibes. Too much content in my feed. What did you think about that? Do you kind of agree, or are we ready to move away from the group chat?
I think it's funny. I love his perspective. I mean, he also, um listen, when you're the founder of something, you're taking feedback very differently than when you're a participant,
Mm-hmm. For
and,
sure.
so, um and when you look at my background, you can see and Prof's background, you can see how many minutes we spend on Farcaster and days casting, so we're here a lot, right? We're kind
A
of
lot.
power users. Um, so when you're here all the time, you don't always kind of see the change day to day.
Mm-hmm.
But so I always love the year-end stuff when you're like, "Let's just take a pause and like, where are we today? Where were we a year ago? How have things changed? Is it for the better?" So, just
I was
interesting stuff.
barely using Farcaster this time last year. Like if I didn't even think I was on yet. I thought it was January, February, but I think that's when I started actually using it. So I probably was on in December, which would track, and then started really using like January, February, March, and then it ramped up after FarCon. Um, so I'm thinking about that. I've been doing that pondering of like year end, kind of like what was this year and like what was this year? Like I don't even know. I'm ending the year with a morning show that has an audience.
It is a
Okay.
weird year for me too.
That
Are
was
you
not on
writing
my
up
bingo card last January. I'm gonna tell you right now, that was not on the bingo card.
I
But
had a
what was on your bingo card?
I started writing up kind of my year-end review, by the way. So, as some of you know, left my I was at a company for 10 years. So, like,
Wow.
very much in one place, and I left last year. So, um I don't have to do annual performance. I started my own business. I don't have to do annual performance reviews anymore. I don't, but
Nice.
I love the year-end review. So I started writing one for myself of just kind of like a recap.
She's giving
And it's
herself her
been
own annual review
you got to do it.
or
And
performance review.
I it's been an incredibly manic year of random projects like GM Farcaster, and it's wild. It's been a super fun year. And
Yeah,
Farcaster has weirdly been this like at the center of it.
yeah, totally. It's so, so wild. Okay, we got a boogie. Man, we've been chatting away here. Um, New feature for channel hosts on Warpcast Mobile, channel norms. List norms for your channel. Oops, I went a little too far there. Will appear in a more info on mobile and the sidebar on web. May experiment with allowing hosts to requiring acknowledgement and acceptance of norms before casting, which is interesting. For hosts, access on channel page and pencil icon. So I have been thinking about this because now we can add channel norms to our GM Farcaster channel. And I'm not sure. Like, I'm not sure what we need there. And I'm kind of just waiting because I don't want to rush into. I get uncomfortable with a lot of rules, like most of people in crypto. So, you know,
Totally.
like so I'm
Um,
very hesitant to like start like, putting rules in unless we don't really need them,
no,
Hopefully everyone can just be
and
nice.
values. Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think norms are closer to values than
Yeah.
rules. And
I hope
and they're
so.
nice to
Yeah. But
yeah,
it
and they're
feels
nice to
like it
have,
could be
but
rules, and I don't want that. So,
yeah.
yeah.
And listen, the idea of any sort of rule is and or law is you kind of never want to touch them. Think about them like guardrails. They're
Yeah.
there, but you shouldn't really need to use them. So in these early
Yeah.
communities, when you're forming and norms are being established. So if you as a channel host dictate the norms, you're creating a very much of
Right.
a kind of top-down culture. And maybe that works for some channels, but a lot of channels you want to give the community ownership as well and feel empowered, and maybe you
Definitely.
want bottoms up norms and you have to give it time for norms to be established.
Absolutely. And I think it's yeah, and I think like it's sort of, it reminds me when you create a Discord server and you set up those rules, and you set it up to acknowledge it. It's like something I've gotten used to and I don't really think about, but that's the other thing. A lot of times people don't even read them and all that. So if it's not going to have actual value and application, like I'm kind of hesitant to do it, but we'll see. We'll see.
I could
But
say that
nice new
about
feature.
so many things in life,
So many
right? If
things in
there's
life.
no value in it,
Why am I
don't
doing it?
don't do it.
Just don't do it. Okay, some other new launches this week. Ponder surveys 2.0 have arrived. Here's what's new: totally fresh landing page, direct survey submission with Ponder tokens, live survey previews, and more. To read the full breakdown, check out our post on Paragraph. And you tried this out, yes?
I did.
You set one up, and I did as well, but I don't think mine's been posted yet because I didn't do it in the GM. We didn't have the option in GM Farcaster channel yet. So how did you like the process, and what do you think about it
Well, I
in this
didn't do it
update?
from the chat. So I don't do it from the channel. You do it from the Ponder
Right,
app.
right,
So if you
exactly.
go to the
But
Ponder app,
yeah, exactly.
oh,
And
maybe
then
your channel
our
wasn't there or
channel
something.
wasn't there yet because
Okay,
it's
you have
not
to
available
find
yet. Yeah,
okay.
because it's too new.
Um, uh, yeah, so shout out, I wanna say BA,
Hmm.
Adamski, and Kojo.
Yep,
Is that doing
correct. That
Ponder?
is correct. That's to Ponder. Yep.
Um, lovingly airdropped me some Ponder tokens so I could try it out with GM
Oh,
Farcaster.
nice.
So I went to the app. I gave them both a shout out too. Their website copy is incredible. Like if you're like,
Yeah,
what is Ponder? And I read through and I find website copy to be one of those arts that's so hard to master. So good job. If you want to know what it is, check out their website. But I yeah, created the hardest part was thinking about what to ask.
honestly, yeah. It was very easy to do. I like the way it's set up. It makes a lot of sense and very easy to set up and go. But it was, yeah, the hardest thing is like coming up with the question. So, yeah.
But it's cool to been it's been cool to watch them build in public and
Yes.
experiment, and it's still not permissionless, so it still requires them to review like, you submit it with your
Yep.
Ponder, they review it, if they don't post it, they return Ponder tokens, but they post it, and unlike Warps, theirs is a token,
Yeah,
so
it
it's
is.
interesting to see 2 different, kind of approaches to points in the ecosystem and
Definitely.
that all
Definitely.
plays out.
It's been very interesting to see all these different approaches. Um, So and then we also had another launch with Jack from Icebreaker. Our regiftable gift box in collaboration with Base is live to celebrate the holidays. So I need to go do this. I haven't had a chance to do to mint this yet. But how cool that they're partnering with Base on that. So I think that's
Nice.
amazing. So that was a cool thing that happened yesterday. Then we have the big meta, and I know I left this for the last minute. The big meta was personal channels. So channels went from decentralized Reddit to decentralized Tumblr with Six and ALOC, and a whole bunch of others. Dan, fully expect creators to have channels in the same way they have YouTube channels or Discords. Engage with your community. With a link to Six's channel, and Six, I believe, was the first one to kind of do it, or at least do it and take notice, I would say. So Six, I want to make and lead a channel, but have no idea what would be good. Bought 2,500 warps, so that's not an issue. And then, hello, welcome to my personal channel. I love posting on my main feed, but unfortunately, the algorithm necessitates that I must post in channels. To solve this, I've created a channel for just my own casts and thoughts that wouldn't normally go in another channel. Thank you for being here. And then we had Cameron, Let Me Cook. He started his Cameron Builds channel. And then this was the funniest one. Jihad said, should I make a Jihad channel? I bet that would turn out well. And I thought, yeah, maybe, maybe not. Maybe a different
Maybe
name.
not.
Maybe a different name. Just, you know, what could go wrong? Many things.
This
Many,
was
many
what
things.
yeah, this is like the turn of events that was like the first time you see someone create a channel for yourself and
Yeah.
themselves, and you're like, "This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard." 6 people do it later, and you're like, "Of course, it
Course,
was
it
always
makes
meant to be."
perfect sense. Yeah.
And Dan really got people to pay
Mhm.
$25 to post in
Mhm.
their home to because we don't wanna post in home feed. What?
I know. It's really funny. But it's, it was the same thing of like thinking about GM Farcaster, but that to me is like a brand. It makes sense. But you know, for if you are your brand, if you're writing a lot, if you're doing things, if you're a creator, it might make a lot of sense to have a channel. Um, I don't know. We're gonna see how these go, but I thought it was really interesting. I had the same thought of like, this is kind of crazy, and then I went, maybe it's not. I'm like, let's see how this plays out. This could be interesting. I also learned something new that I know Six as onion from
Yep.
nouns. He changed it to 6. I didn't realize that's because it's his builder DAO token number. And that to me was like, how did I of all people not know this?
No.
I don't know. But I thought that was pretty amazing. And I learned that in his channel yesterday. So there you go. A couple quick things we're gonna like fly through because there's one more thing we really need to talk about very quickly, and that's spam because we did not talk about this the other day. Introducing a revolutionary meme coin idea. Spam, this is the idea that launched the future coin. The first meme coin that we can mint it. I'm posting on Farcaster, tag spam anywhere in your cast. Then go to a website and claim your share of the coin. So Winter did not actually create this. He had the idea for it. And then Borodutch actually launched $ spam actual ERC20 coin. And supposedly, when you type $spam on Farcaster, you'll also be getting a claim for that token. Um, it's getting crazy, but also there's now a spam channel, so you can just go spam in there. Um, and when muting channels, I think that's the big thing, right? So hopefully, we'll have that fairly soon, so that people can,
I posted
return. Some
yesterday I
friends can
posted
return.
I casted yesterday that my superpower is the ability to, like, let crap
Yes,
like, be on my feed, and it doesn't bother me. Like, I'm good. I can scroll past things. It doesn't change.
same.
Spam is really testing
It's really
me.
hard. It's really
It's
hard.
really pushing me to my limit, but I'm good. I have your
Hang
spam.
in there. We think that channel muting is coming soon.
Um,
I
yeah.
like that you connected it to your meditation practice. I thought that was really interesting. I do not have such a practice anymore. I used to, but I also can do that thing where I just like I don't, and I think a little this is Gen X, and we've talked
Just
about this before of like the the Gen X is it's harder to we're harder to offend. We just go whatever, and we move on. So one quick announcement: Monday we do not have a show. We don't have a show tomorrow. This is our Friday show. Is on Thursday today. We don't have a show Monday. We're taking a little break for the holidays. Tuesday we have a GM Farcaster offsite retreat. In other words, Adrian's coming to Florida and we're going to go have lunch and chat about all things GM Farcaster. And then Wednesday, we're going to talk about it. So Wednesday will be our only show next week. And we will wrap up all the things and talk about the holidays we'll give you all the alpha about what we're going to be doing in 2024 for GM Farcaster. So that's it for today. Anything I missed, Adrian, before we call it? Anything
No,
big I
I think
missed?
we covered it.
All
So
right.
happy Friday, everyone.
Happy Friday, a little
Happy
day
Friday.
early. Happy Friday, and we will see you all next Wednesday. Have a lovely holiday to those who celebrate, and thank you to the chat. We love you. By the way, one last thing, Monkey Link's comment when we were talking about Dan and his John Krasinski handsomeness. He said, "No muting channels. Well, you're lucky you're handsome." So there you go.
Um,
Uh, GM, everyone.
I'm sure Varun will be happy with that.
Yeah,
He'll take the, he'll
that's
run with
the
that.
reason. Have a great holiday, everyone, and we will see you Wednesday. Bye bye.
Bye-bye, everyone.